God, courtrooms, get better
When
microphones.
we walk outside, we know there are laws to live by. But Michael Crane says the laws of the land don't apply to him. In shackles and jailhouse stripes, Michael...
I need to enable some very important BTTV emotes. Don't ask me how to do it, but we need at least clap and hyperclap. I don't even know what BTTV emotes are. Thank you for the person who just tipped $5. I appreciate that. The Euphoria answer. Let me see what your thing says. I watched your unboxing this morning. I was the one who gifted the DVD of Barabbas. Thank you very much for that. I mailed that when Jake said when asked anyone to send an actual quality Christian film. I'm obviously not, but the film is classic. The Christian themes are subtle. Crazy, right? Interesting. Let's check it out sometime. Thank you. Better Twitch TV. I'll try and look into it. I'm not going to do it on stream, but I can look into it afterward.
Crane starts with his lawyers.
I never hired these attorneys. We have no contract, no standing contract.
Charged in the murders of Glenna and Lawrence Shapiro and Bruce Gaudet, Crane wants to represent himself and tried to submit his own affidavits.
Imagine having being a sovereign citizen be the second worst thing about you, the first being that you are a alleged murderer. Fantastic.
The status of the case right now is you have a lawyer, so all your pleadings have to be filed through them.
I never agreed to your terms of service. I've never agreed to your terms of contract, Your Honor. This is a simple thing. I'm not bound by your rules, regulations, statutes, codes, and procedures, and you're aware of this.
The judge tried to explain how to represent himself, saying there's a list of items to address.
Well, then we should probably get busy doing that list of questions.
Claiming he was wrongfully arrested, Crane says he follows different laws.
The Euphoria answer. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that.
I'm a sovereign man. I'm a man of flesh and blood. What kind of jurisdiction is this? Is this admiralty? Is this maritime? Is this civil? Is this criminal? What kind of court is this?
Before his escorts there...
Murder would be a criminal crime, so a criminal crime. Redundant, it would be a criminal court, sir. That's what murder is?
Showed him to the door. One more question.
Who is the injured party, Your Honor? Let's go.
He asked who was injured in the crimes. His next hearing...
the murder victim. The murder victim? I've heard sovereign citizens for some reason believe that if there is no materially injured party, then you cannot have committed a crime. So basically they're saying, I can drive around without a seatbelt, drive around without a license, because there is no direct victim going on. So basically, even though, of course, these things have social consequences and actual consequences, if you don't wear a seatbelt, you can become a projectile and hurt someone if you fly out of a car windshield in a crash. And of course, the licensing keeps people safe from you, to make sure that you are safe to operate a vehicle, but they think that there has to be some sort of literal material victim. Someone has to have already been injured for there to be a crime. However, I've never heard it applied when there is so clearly a victim. Who is the victim here of this crime? The murder victim. Sir, this is a murder trial, sir? Do you know what is happening to you?
September 18th. Christopher Sign, ABC 15 News.
After an hour-long hearing in which he spouted conspiracy theories and repeatedly challenged the judge, Michael Crane pleaded guilty Wednesday in Maricopa County Superior Court to 3 counts of burglary and 1 count each of theft and misconduct with weapons related to a 2012 crime and killing spree that left 3 people dead. He did so without the benefit of a plea agreement from prosecutors. Michael Crane appears in Maricopa County Superior Court in Phoenix August 20, 2018, with his attorney Jamie Sparks. According to his attorneys, Crane has offered to plead guilty to the murders, as well, in exchange for a life sentence. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. Still at issue, however, is Crane's mental competence. During Wednesday's hearing, he admitted that he has refused to take medication prescribed for him. He has been diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, a cross between schizophrenia and bipolar disorder.
Oof.
He also repeatedly invoked his imagined status as a sovereign citizen and insisted that state laws do not apply to him. Crane specifically cited the Uniform Commercial Code, often referred to as the UCC, a code enacted to coordinate laws of commerce among states and nations. But certain jailhouse lawyers construe it as a kind of super law that trumps all others. Maritime law and admiralty law are often cited in the same manner and frequently used to muddy legal proceedings. Their proponents file legal documents with language that often reads like the King James Bible. Crane read his own manifesto late in the hearing, asking Judge Warren Granville to acknowledge his interpretation of law. Granville remained silent, which Crane said was an assent. Crane's attorney
It's hilarious to me that these people think that they need to actively consent in order for the law to apply to them. Basically, they think that they need to say, yes, your laws apply to me, but they think that if someone is silent in regard to them asking if they consent to their interpretation of the law, then that means it's a yes. What? No, that's not how anything works.
Jamie Sparks, asked that Granville not accept the plea as willing and voluntary based on his utterances during the hearing and her interactions with him on Tuesday and Wednesday. The prosecutor, Deputy County Attorney Patricia Stevens, quickly noted that Crane had been judged to be competent by Granville, based on an October hearing in which a court-appointed mental health professional stated that Crane was putting on an act. Competent, in legal terms, does not mean that a person does not have mental illness, it only means that the defendant understands the proceedings against him or her and is capable of assisting attorneys in his defense. Crane has been in and out of what is called restoration to competency since he was arrested. His attorneys have consistently claimed he is too mentally ill to stand trial, and prosecutors have consistently insisted that he is pretending. Lawrence and Glenna Shapiro Memorial Service in 2012.
See, I very much doubt he is pretending. I've never seen someone... Thank you for saying you think my scarf is cute, by the way. It is. I'm getting very warm, though. It's a hot day today. So check it out. Very cool scarf a fan sent, but I gotta set it aside because I'm dying. I doubt he's making this up. I think he genuinely believes these things. There are much easier and more believable ways to get some sort of defense that you are not mentally competent than to pretend to be a sovereign citizen. There are.
According to the charges against him, on Jan. 26, 2012, Crane and an accomplice broke into the Phoenix home of Bruce Gaudette, shot him and set fire to his condominium before stealing his car. 4 days later, prosecutors believe Crane broke into the Paradise Valley home of Glenna and Lawrence Shapiro, robbed them, shot them and then set the house on fire. Both died. Crane was charged with 15 counts, including first-degree murder, kidnapping, burglary, arson and auto theft. He pleaded guilty to many of the other counts in 2017. As of this writing, the county attorney's office had not yet responded as to whether it would consider offering a plea agreement on the murder accounts.
Jesus.
Big story. A man accused of going on a robbery
This is the
and
same
murder
guy, I
rampage
think.
7 years ago is now pleading guilty.
It's crazy that it took 7 years to get a plea through. That's insane.
Michael Crane is accused of killing 3 people,
Look at this guy's mustache. Holy shit. That is a thick mustache.
including a couple in Paradise Valley, and setting their homes on fire. Crane has become known in recent years
I feel like if he didn't have the mustache, his face would be like 30% lip. It's just the thickest
for
mustache.
his wild outbursts in court while defending himself.
Team 12's Michael Doudna joins us live from the Alert Center with the change of plea. Michael?
Guys, Crane's guilty plea comes just months after doctors deemed he was competent to stand trial, and for pleading guilty, he will avoid the death penalty, but hopefully provide some sort of closure to the family of those hurt by these brutal killings.
It was devastating when they were both
That
murdered.
second
Neighbors
before it
remember
cut, it looked
Lawrence
like that
and-
reporter was staring into my soul.
Glenna Shapiro, as their house sits vacant, a reminder of the philanthropist couple who used to host them.
Nice neighbors, quiet, always invited us to their Christmas Eve party.
There hasn't been a Christmas party for 7 years. The door boarded up, weeds growing, as the police tape may be gone, but signs of the horror, like smoke stains on the bedroom window, still remain.
I smelled burning wood that morning.
That's
Police say
so
Michael Crane
messed
bound
up.
together Lawrence and Glenna, shooting them and setting fire to their bedroom, leaving their bodies to burn.
The name
Why?
you're using, it's a fictional name. That's not my name.
Since then, Michael Crane has made headlines in court for his outburst as a self-proclaimed sovereign citizen.
I don't have a contract with this court. These are your laws, not my laws. These are your rules, not my rules.
That's not how the world works. Wherever you are, if there is a jurisdiction and a law that is understood by the people of that land to be the law, if there is an authority, it has authority over you. If I go to France and break a French law, despite the fact that I'm not a French citizen, I can be put in prison there for it.
The trial has dragged on for years as neighbors have waited on a resolution. And with Crane now pleading guilty, he'll avoid the death penalty, but not justice. With neighbors hoping this news will put an end to the horror and provide some sort of relief to the families.
Hopefully it'll bring some sense of closure for the family. So.
A judge will sentence Michael Crane for the 3 murders in March. Of course, we'll keep you posted. We're live in the Alert Center. Michael Doudna, 12 News at 10.
All right, Michael, thank you.
Oh God, it's him arguing with the judge.
Possible changes of plea and
Oh, good audio too. Thank you, this courtroom, for getting better mics.
status conference state versus Michael Crane, CR 2012-007950, CR 2016-000999. Appearances, please.
Good morning, I'm Patricia Stevens and Julie Wazinski appearing on behalf of the state. They're also members of the Shapiro and Gaudet family on the telephone conference line.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Eric Aiken for Rebecca Motlaw in the 176 count.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jamie Starks and Herman Avendar on behalf of Mr. Crane, who is present and in custody.
Michael Crane on behalf of Michael Crane.
Good morning. Mr. Crane, it's my understanding that you wish to change your plea in the 7950 case to count 1 burglary with 2 prior felonies,
My left ear is louder than my right ear.
Class 3 non-dangerous repetitive offense committed November 30th, 2011, between November 30th, 2011 and December 5th, 2011. Count 2, theft with 2 prior felonies, a Class 4 non-dangerous repetitive offense committed December 6, 2011. Count 3, misconduct involving weapons with 2 prior felonies, a Class 4 non-dangerous repetitive offense committed December 6, 2011. Is that correct?
Correct.
You understand that if you plead guilty, you subject yourself to a mandatory prison sentence for each of those 3 counts. Do you understand that, sir?
No.
If it's a repetitive offense, the law would mandate that you get a prison term that's presumed to be 11 1/4 years on the burglary count, 10 years on the theft and the weapons charge. Under the law, it could go up to 25 years.
Hello,
on the
Luli
burglary case,
PK.
15 years on the theft and the weapons charge.
I understand what you're saying, but I don't understand how this works, but go on.
Well, I need to make sure that you know what you're doing and you understand what you're doing.
Oh no, this courtroom flag has a gold fringe too. So this guy, who wants to bet he mentions the fact that this flag happens to have a gold fringe? Thank you, Luli PK, for following. I appreciate that.
And you want to do what you're doing. So what questions do you have so far?
What difference does it matter if I plead guilty, if I say I take the responsibility for all these charges and you guys have a trial? What difference does it make if I do this now or later?
What? If you have a child...
Well, I don't know what later is today.
Gold fringe? Oh, this is something that sovereign citizens believe. Sovereign citizens believe that if there is gold fringe on the flag in a courtroom, that it is a signal that it is secretly an admiralty court, and it is like a maritime law courtroom, because they believe that all law is secretly maritime law. I'm not kidding. This is stuff they genuinely believe. And that it ties into, like, all the weird legal stuff that they believe, basically, about straw men and being property and all kinds of weird stuff. When in reality, a fringe, a gold fringe specifically on a flag, doesn't mean anything if it's in a courtroom. It just means that flag has a gold fringe. Because the flag code more or less dictates how a flag can look and be produced. But one of the things that it does allow is for the flag to have a gold fringe on it. You don't need it, but you can have it, and both are considered official flags of the U.S., and many courtrooms use the gold fringe flag because it kind of looks official, you know? I think it's ugly, I think it clashes, but whatever. It looks official or whatever. So a lot of courtrooms have them, and sovereign citizens take this to mean that it's an admiralty court, when of course it means no such thing.
Relates to 2 cases.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you, though?
Well, I don't, you know better than I do what
I really
later
don't.
means.
I really don't.
Well, no one can force you to change your plea, Mr. Crane. Right now, the options are going to be a plea or a trial in 3 cases.
I've already told you that I'm willing to accept responsibility for all these charges. So that is what I'm telling you right now.
Well, and I'm answering in that, in order for me to accept that choice by you, I have to make sure that you understand the ramifications of that choice. Among the ramifications...
I understand the ramifications that you're telling me, but I don't agree with them.
Well...
That's one of the, I'm here on special visitation only. You need to remember that.
Well, I can,
rights are reserved under UCC 1-308. You need to remember that.
And we've talked about that too, but I have to take baby steps to go through this, Mr. Crane, and if you can't follow me, then we won't do it.
Here, may I have just one moment?
Yes?
This poor lawyer. Can you imagine legitimately going to school for years, then applying to law school, passing the bar, getting your license, becoming a practicing attorney, deciding to go into being a public defender because you not only care about the law so deeply, but you care about defending people who can't defend themselves because they lack the resources to get their own lawyer. And then you get assigned to this asshole thief murderer who refuses to listen to you, despite the fact that you are giving them the best defense that you can. How fucking annoying would that be? Devious Chillster with 25 bits. I don't agree, says the sovereign citizen. Okay, my bad. You're free to go, says the judge. Is that what they think is going to happen? I have no idea. I legit don't know what they think is going to happen. Shamrock Star with 5 bits. Thank you very much. And Daddy Sume with 1 bit saying, I have arrived. Welcome, Daddy Sume. Welcome to the stream.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Nothing at all. There's nothing. It doesn't matter. We're going to go to trial. We're going to sit here. We're going to say nothing at all. I don't even want you guys representing me in the first place. You know that. My position stands firm on this. There's nothing to say. Period. Let's go ahead and go through these proceedings, but just understand that one way or another, this is you're forcing me in the contract by keeping me in a jail cell.
He's so close. You're forcing me into a contract. I hate to quote the Joker here, but we live in a society, right? Okay? And once you're born into that society, you are de facto consenting to be a part of it. Even if you don't want to. That's part of being in a society. We've all more or less signed a social contract upon our births within that society. And you can either choose to agree to it, or if enough people decide to change it, things like, you know, regime changes and policy decisions can change. But you don't get to just, as an individual, decide that you aren't part of society anymore. It's not how it works. Welcome to society. I wouldn't choose where I am specifically either, necessarily, but here we are, and you gotta work within the framework that you're given, right? If you want to go and live on an island somewhere and legitimately be sovereign and answer to no one, then that's your business, but you better go find a fucking island in the middle of nowhere where no one has jurisdiction, and you better bring a gun, because if someone else shows up without any laws, not gonna be good for you. Feminist Critique Pod says, paralegal me always cringes at these assholes who need a couple of QAnon articles who read a couple of QAnon articles or free beacons and think they know shit. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Keeping me confined.
It's like Dunning-Kruger in full effect. It's crazy.
Well, like I told you, I'm accepting responsibility for these charges. I don't agree with your commercial ruling fraud that you committed.
It's not a commercial ruling. This is a criminal courtroom. You're being charged with murder. That's a criminal offense. That's not civil. Commercial offenses would be civil. You are in criminal court.
Every day in this court, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what to do.
Well, you and I are going to engage in a conversation, and we'll see where we are at the end of it.
Let's go with that.
You understand that by pleading guilty, you are going to be facing mandatory prison for each of these 3 counts.
I understand that's what you're telling me.
The presumed sentence for the burglary charge is 11.25 years. It could legally go down to 7.5 years. It could legally go up to 25 years. You understand that?
I understand that.
With respect to the theft and the weapons charge, the presumed sentence is 10 years. It legally go down to 6 years, and it could legally up to 15 years. Do you understand that?
I understand, but I don't agree with that.
Yes, we know you don't agree. Wouldn't it be easier to just say, just assume everything you're about to say I don't agree with? I feel like it would save everyone a lot of time.
It would be lawful to run these concurrent with each other. It would be lawful to run these stacked on top of each other. Do you understand that?
I understand that, but I don't agree with that.
Each one of these would be an 85% count. Do you understand that?
I understand that, but I don't agree with that.
In the 999 case, it's my understanding that you are intending to plead guilty to count 1 burglary with 2 prior felonies, a class 3 non-dangerous repetitive offense committed between January 31, 2009 and February 12, 2009. Count 2 burglary with 2 prior felonies, a class 3 non-dangerous repetitive offense committed between May 28, 2009 and June 3, 2009. Is that your understanding?
I understand it, but I don't agree with it.
Okay, I'm going to skip through this part, because we get it. Yeah, I understand, but I don't agree.
Which constitution are we talking? I understand that, but I don't agree with that.
The sentences in this case could run concurrent with or be stacked on top of the other case. Do you understand that?
I do, but I don't agree with it.
You understand that if you plead guilty, you're giving up constitutional rights.
Which constitution are we talking about?
The United States Constitution.
Right to remain silent.
Which constitution are we talking
The
about?
U.S. Constitution.
Which U.S. are we talking? Are we talking about the federal constitution of the District of Columbia, that U.S. Constitution, or are we talking about the states of the Union common law constitution? Which constitution are we talking about?
They're the same thing. They're the same thing! The, sovereign citizens believe that, there's this federal entity that is within Washington, D.C. that has some sort of separate constitution. This is not the case. The Constitution of the United States is the Constitution for the United States. What do you know? Very complicated, right?
There's nothing funny about the tools
Devious
of capitalism.
Chillster says with 25 bits. So I just had a thought. This dude is charged with, like, 3 murders, right? But doesn't want to deal with our laws so he doesn't get in trouble. But then these idiots don't realize our laws are meant to also protect them. Otherwise, we could just kill them and no one would get in trouble themselves. It could just be like, oh, no laws apply to you? All right, then we're not unlawfully arresting you into the forever jail. No, some of these people, and I'm not kidding, I've heard this said in at least one sovereign citizen video that I could link, that says that they say, we have all the rights of a citizen with none of the responsibilities. So these people think the law doesn't apply to them except in the sense that it protects them. It's literally as stupid as it sounds. They're children who believe that they get all the benefits of society but don't have to pay any of the dues required as their part within the social contract. It's ridiculous.
I'm asking a question. You're not answering my question. You're committing fraud by remaining silent on this issue. My question is real simple. You're asking me questions. I'm asking you questions. I'm not trying to be difficult. I want to get this over with. I've been
You're being very difficult.
here for almost 7 years. I'm asking you a simple question. Are we working under the common law, or are we using a federal constitution?
They're part of the same legal system. The Constitution of the United States is the sort of supreme legal document of the land that outlines the responsibilities of the federal government and what powers are vested therein. And then the judicial system, which makes rulings on the law, is part of the common law. Common law is the system in which we live, and how rulings brought down by courts then apply to all the districts therein that are under its purview. So that's why when the Supreme Court makes a ruling, it applies everywhere in the United States. Because in the sort of pyramid hierarchy of courts, they're at the top. So everything is within their purview within the United States. That's common law. Is rulings get made on cases, and then that ruling stands and applies to all cases within the area of the court's purview for the future, unless such a time comes that a ruling is reversed or a new thing comes along and it's interpreted differently. This happens sometimes. For instance, I want to say it was Plessy versus Ferguson. Hold on. Plessy versus Ferguson. Plessy versus Ferguson, landmark decision of the Supreme Court that upheld the constitutionality of racial segregation laws for public facilities as long as they segregate. Yeah. So Plessy versus Ferguson basically said, hey, separate but equal is fine. Of course, later on, that was deemed not to be the case. Although I don't think that was officially done through the courts. I think that was done... Well, let me look it up, actually. Plessy v. Ferguson overturned. When did that get overturned? Oh, duh. Brown versus Board of Education, which came some almost 60 years after the fact, overturned Plessy versus Ferguson. Okay? So, court decisions can become overturned. For instance, conservatives are really, really chomping at the bit to get a completely packed conservative Supreme Court so they can try and overturn Roe v. Wade and get abortion outlawed. So, it's how it works in a common law system. The higher the court is, the more places that the decision is going to apply to, and that's what the common law is. It's the commonality in law that we have that applies equally everywhere.
The federal Constitution. And Mr. Crane, if you don't want to engage in the rules, then that's fine. We can proceed.
I don't agree with the rules. I mean, I don't have a choice either way. You are giving me no choice. You're forcing me to have counsel. You're forcing me to go to trial. I have no choice in any of these matters whatsoever. The only thing that I can do is protect myself the best that I can. Most of this stuff, I just have a basic comprehension of. So I ask you again.
I think he's overestimating his comprehension.
Are we working under admiralty law, under statutory jurisdiction?
No. Okay, now I know he's overestimating his understanding of what's going on.
We're not. Really? Okay.
I can't tell because this is like the blurriest thing ever, and there's like 7 pixels making up the judge's face, but I'd like to think when he said, no, we're not operating under admiralty law, he had a little bit of a shit-eating grin on his face.
That's going in a lawsuit right there. You just committed fraud. Thank you very much again.
That's what they think, too. When they ask a question, like, is this admiralty court? And the judge says no, because it isn't. They're like, well, I can't be wrong. You must be lying. This is fraud. This is how a child thinks.
Giving up your right to remain silent, your privilege against self-incrimination, your right to refuse to testify, right to plead not guilty.
I know some of this is a little bit quiet. I hope the captions are helping you guys.
That, sir.
I understand that, but that's not under the original Constitution, the original Bill of Rights.
You're giving up your right to a jury trial where you'd be represented by a lawyer. Do you understand that?
I understand that, but I don't agree with that.
You're giving up your right to cross-examine or question any witness the state called. Do you understand that?
I understand that, but I don't agree with that.
You're giving up your right to call witnesses?
Let me guess. I understand that, but I don't agree with it.
Present evidence and testify yourself if you wanted to. Do you understand
I understand that, but I don't agree with that.
You're giving up your right to have the jury determine your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
Excellent. That. I said excellent, but I don't agree with that.
You're giving up your right to have that jury determine any aggravating factors beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
I really don't. I really, really don't.
Your choice is to go to trial, or your choice is to plead. That's up to you.
One way or the other, I'm telling you, I did everything that you're telling me I did. It's going to happen in trial here, so yes, I agree.
Have you had enough time to think about this?
I'd say plenty of them.
Has anybody forced you to make this decision?
Absolutely.
What has forced you to make this decision?
Let's see, 7 years in confinement in 4th Avenue Jail. You guys not answering my questions. You giving me no choice. You forcing me to have counsel. You not allowing me to represent myself in a pro.
I promise you, forcing you to have an adult sit next to you to tell you how the law works is nothing but a benefit to you. The fact that you were refusing to take the advice of your counsel is the thing that is fucking you. Please stop.
Proper status or proper sui juris status by you not answering my questions, by the state not answering my questions.
Has anybody threatened you to make this decision?
Absolutely.
How so?
Every single time that I'm either forced to come to this courtroom, which I am here under duress and under threat with my life.
You're not here under duress. You're here because you're under the... you are under the jurisdiction of the court. You've been arrested. You are in... what's the word? You've been... Oh, God. I'm blanking on the word now. You're in the custody of the court system. And if they say it's time to come to the courtroom for some sort of court proceeding, whether it's sentencing or whether it's you pleading or whether it's an actual trial, that's when you go.
Or further imprisonment in the 4th Avenue Jail, absolutely. What do you mean? What kind of question is that? Serious?
Are you asking that I accept your plea?
Absolutely. What are you asking me? What are you saying to me right now? And know that
you went on the premises.
Doesn't matter at this point. Go ahead, correct.
I can't let you plead if there's not a crime, Mr. Crane.
Your Honor, regarding the factual basis on the misconduct involving weapons, that was actually at another location, his grandmother's house, where there was a J.C. Higgins rifle that was found. That's separate and at a different location from the...
Right on it. Every single document from that stage, from the signing process, has preserved my rights to the common law.
That was one of the issues you raised earlier. I ruled earlier.
I don't even remember raising that issue earlier.
It is subject to review, I guess. So the question I have for you is, did you get your rights restored by DPS after your felony case?
Rights restored. That's what I'm telling you.
Hello, what's
I'm
up?
sorry?
I never had to get my rights restored, is what I'm telling you.
I understand what you're saying. But
I don't have a sword to defend myself. This would be assault with a foamy weapon.
I'm telling you that I never had my rights taken away from me in the first place.
Okay. In the 999 case,
Whew! That T blocker and estrogen is really just... I already didn't have a lot of upper body strength, but holy shit.
I also have estrogen, though.
Oh, I know. I know. You're in better shape than me, for sure.
This is some bullshit.
in the 999 case,
I shaved my head today. Did it myself.
Very nice.
Is it true that between January 31, 2009 and February...
Hauer was present at the scene of the burglaries charged under that cause number.
Daddy Sume with 5 bits. Baha's Bay. Yes, she is.
Thanks, Daddy
On
Sume.
one of them, Judge, if I may.
That would be count 2.
That's the... So someone else was with you at the 35th Avenue, 35th Place residence, Mr.
All right. I think that's enough of murder, sovereign citizen. We can move on to another guy.